Chapter 1. A Vengeance. Yashi sits on a cliff, staring at dark Madu in the far distance. Miles and miles of ocean between them. Rough winds blow through the trees behind him, filling his mind with the wavering leaves. Approaching footsteps are heard. Dia walks up to him and sits to his left, also staring at their awaited destination. Yashi speaks with a calm and a soft voice.
10 years, Dia. It's been 10 years, a decade, since we've been together. Since my parents, my people, were taken away from me.
Dia pats his left shoulder and keeps it there.
And now we're going to avenge them. Avenge every life Kurosi has taken. Every soul that he took with his bloodied aura.
2 minutes.
A voice called out behind them. Emuna stands deeper in the forest, charging up a focused, untraceable teleport to the island, to their next destination. Her body is shimmering in a faint but elegant white. Her eyes are closed, and her hands are forming an invisible spear in front of her. Dia's hands slide down Yashi's arm until it rests next to his.
As much as it feels right to say, I know that avenging what I lost before I even knew, it pales in comparison to those who I laid my life down to now.
Well said, Yashi. So much of the world I would have never known if I did not strive with you.
Their fingertips barely touch.
It must be even scarier for those who see magic as an everyday customary.
Zakuchi really opened a lot of minds in that regard.
I know, right?
The rushing winds intensify, causing Yashi to stand up. Dia follows his lead. Yashi can feel his heart pulsing blood down to his ankles, the anxiety ever so trying to creep upon him. He clenches his fists.
Dia, I want to confirm with you, for the final time.
Yes, Yashi. I want to fight him with you.
Yashi sighs out of relief, taking a deep breath while closing his eyes.
Our game plan. Run through it once more.
Oh.
Dia summons her magic and goal, a translucent, mobile touchscreen device, better known as a Mongol. It appears at Yashi's waist level with a map of Dakumaru and a third-dimensional topographic. 3 dots rest at the shore on the map. Dia moves her finger along while she talks. The dots of herself and Yashi move along with her.
On the shore, our efficiencies remain at 1% going through the forest until we reach Rocky Dunes. We split, I go north, you go south, and we'll meet up at Castle's Meadow.
Telepathy test.
Yashi sends a pulse of energy into the ring he is wearing. This ring holds a telepathy frequency to all those previously aligned to it.
Alive?
It's alive.
With Dia nodding, the both of them turn the assist off.
60 seconds.
They hear from Emuna through the silent, radiating energy around her. The sparkly light around Emuna has faded, and in between her palms is a red box that flashes in luminosity.
Our biggest concern is the castle.
Not a good start. You didn't even let me finish.
Continue.
The main entrance to the castle is facing east. We talked about using particle magic to make a sort of hologram around the wall till we were inside, but I think using Fukushi would be worth it. It would be around the same little usage. We would be moving faster.
Sounds like the way to go. After that, it's finding his throne room.
I worry about that as well. If there's anything else, I wish that it would be as simple as following a map.
Avoiding conflict with disciplines will lead to our success.
Even one fight would send us back to Emuna.
It will definitely be a mess with the council.
They'll know for sure now.
20 seconds.
Let's do this.
Yashi and Dia jog to Emuna. Standing to each of her sides, they await to the final countdown.
Remember, no talking verbally once on that island. If you lose sight of each other, you will have your trance. If you get trapped, ping me with your Kenasu. Dia, Yashi, do not withhold any strength. You as well, Dia. I wish you both as much luck as you can bear.
Right.
Right.
As Emuna's eyes open, a spiral of red crosses through all of their vision. In the blink of an eye, their feet rest on the sandy shores of Dakumaru. Both of them run to the line of trees ahead. Before entering, Yashi looks back at Emuna. Her face reads concern, but also hope. Her outline fades away until she is invisible, cloaked under fukashi. Yashi turns and continues through the forest behind Dia. Both of them are sprinting as fast as possible.
Prepare your Kenisu for a few miles.
DUs, please.
5.
The air is a lot more breathable than in Regra, the prior location. The environment is void of wildlife, yet the god rays to the trees give Yashi mental peace. Their heavy stomps crush every pile of leaves and grass in their way. Yashi scans the area around them for auras, cautiously with his Denroku. He does the same with Anyoi, making sure no magic is being used. He watches Dia jump over a fallen log. She lands using her hands as leverage.
Run around next time. Don't need any broken bones.
Hard to believe we're going to fight the Demon King and not recording for a movie or something.
If we win, you'll make headlines.
Don't make it all about me, Yashi boy. I thought you were the hero.
File your Kenisu, and we'll see if this becomes a movie, Dia.
Yashi faintly feels her Kenisu being released as a cone-shaped wave ahead. She jumps in the air and vanishes into the ground.
Drop off. Prepare Zoka Swiftness, 20 more seconds.
Yashi reaches the drop a few seconds later. A slide of particle magic was already there for him. This new area is darker from the taller trees. However, Yashi feels the presence of many wild familiars.
1,000 feet before I'm out of telepathy range.
The two continue their full sprint through the forest. It is not too long before a stray rabbit begins to follow.
Aw, she thinks you're cute.
They're using stage 2 Zoka Swiftness just to keep up.
Poor rabbits. We've reached checkpoint B.
Here's my boost. Use it wisely.
A cooling sensation runs through their bodies. All of their fatigue and stamina is cleared. They won't feel a thing for the next 5 minutes.
An hour is all that should be necessary. If we haven't returned by then...
I'm getting the council.
See you in a bit, Emuna.
Alright, Emuna. Stay patient.
Yashi feels his telepathy disconnecting from Emuna without notice, still running within the darkness. It takes them nearly 3 minutes until the end of the forest begins its interior view of rocky dunes.
High alert. This place feels extremely dangerous. I can already feel dissipients, and we're nowhere near the castle.
It's been too quiet. Either this route was genius, or Kurosi's defenses are severely lacking.
High hopes it stays this way.
That would be welcoming.
With Dia a few hundred yards ahead, she escapes the forest first. She changes directions to the left, going north, only taking the boundary of rocky dunes into the plains.
There's a bit of visible fog in the dunes. We might lose connection when farthest from each other.
That's fine. It's fine. No need to waste oplitals now. You're still topped up?
I'm as expected.
Yashi finally reaches rocky dunes, thousands of acres lake with rocks, metals, and other stones. A deep gray fog clouds the base of rocky dunes and towers a few feet in the air. Yashi turns to his right, going south of the mysterious gloom.
Can you still hear me, Yashi?
Loud and clear. Though, let's cut the chat until we reach our next checkpoint.
It's far too uninhabited than I would have thought. The Scythian auras are scattered as if they were on the ground or far in the sky. Although not covered with rocks, the area ahead of him is laced with fog. Entering through, he maintains parallel to the outskirts of the dunes. A dark orange tint fills everything above 2 feet over his head. Everything below is black. Yashi creates the tiniest flame that is positioned in front of him to guide him. It isn't powerful enough to light everything around him, but just to make sure he doesn't collide head first into an outlying boulder.
Yashi, there are dissipients ahead of me. I'm going to cut through rocky dunes.
Alright, it's pitch black in here. Stay careful.
Saying those words, the rubble to Yashi's left vanishes, meaning that he has reached the furthest point south of the dunes. Yashi changes his direction to the left until it comes into view. Left in silence for 5 minutes, Yashi makes it to the edge of the fog. He holds his breath to remain as still as possible, intentionally blurring his vision. Overhead, an individual is flying south from the castle. Yashi goes prone and crawls until under a thicket of bushes. The only thing between him and the Demon King's castle is an open plain. The behemoth of a castle reaches 200 meters in both width and length. It erects powerfully in the air, being 100 meters tall.
Coming to an opening.
Only one individual flying towards your toe. Come out prone before we start the next phase.
Understood.
It isn't long before Yashi watches the grass displace out of the fog from behind.
I'm to your 1 o'clock, Dia.
Dia's direction changes straight for Yashi. After a few seconds, they are face to face in the grass.
We are going to take a quick dip in hydro,
Yashi rubs a little dirt from Dia's left jaw, and with the same finger uses hydro to wash it. Dia smiles, squinting her eyes.
Checkpoint C.
With her smile vanishing, Dia nods. She summons a small barrier over them that prohibits their magic from being sensed by exterior means. Yashi's longsword, Jessica, appears on the ground between them. Jessica shimmers with a powerful aura. After a short second, it vanishes in small gray specks of particles.
To the castle.
In a bright flash of light, both Yashi and Dia are sucked inside the invisible sword before it slides against the ground with might. On the path to the castle, it reaches over 200 miles per hour. From inside the Celestial, the two can only see through monocular vision, timing their breach perfectly. They both move in opposite directions to force themselves out of the Celestial. Standing tall in front of them are the castle gates, wide open and unguarded. The two look at each other with astonishment.
No one is here. Why?
Maybe it's a trap? I don't believe this.
The recipients too. I don't feel a thing, do ya?
Yashi takes a step forward, extending his Celestial. Nothing comes of it. He looks down to see his right boot just an inch from officially being inside the castle. Suddenly, he jumps inside and rolls back, expecting a trigger to set something off. However, nothing happens.
Come on. It's best we not get caught from the rear.
Anxiously, Dia follows Yashi through the gates. Unlike the outside silvery blue color, the inside is all one monogamous dark brunette color. There are little to no fancy interior decorations, just a casual lamp fixture against the wall or support beams. The hall they stand in is abnormally huge, spanning 30 feet in height and 20 feet across. Looking further down, there seems to be an intersection. After reaching it, there are 3 different avenues, 2 more large corridors on either side, and a staircase that goes out of sight after curling under their floor. Down the halls to their sides are a single lantern illuminating each. There is a visible wall at the end of both as well.
What do we do now?
I would think, it would be at the very top, despite what the description said. Yet, the strange layout says otherwise. I'm starting to think this is an illusion. It's just so empty.
Do you think I should just Kinitsu?
Honestly, splitting up would be a better option than that.
And that's a terrible option.
A loud bang echoes from the left hall, cutting Dia off. Startled, the two hide against the adjacent wall. After a few seconds, Yashi peeks to see a flickering light from the next corner.
We have no choice but to keep moving.
The two silently sprint to the corner. Once there, Yashi peeks again. This hall is quite narrow, only being 5 feet across and 10 feet in height. Just a few feet from him is an individual sleeping on a chair. Resting in their lap is a blue flickering lantern.
Someone's here. It looks like Grandrum.
Dia nods, motioning her hand in front of his field of view to proceed. The two tiptoe closer. Before they pass him, Dia taps Yashi's shoulder, pointing at a symbol hanging from the ceiling. The symbol is actually a combination of symbols with guiding arrows. As Yashi takes his next step, he accidentally knocks over a metal nail. The nail screeches against the floor. Both he and Dia look at the recipient with anticipation. Grandrum's eyes slowly jitter open. The three exchange glances before Grandrum gets into a more comfortable position and continues napping. To settle their rising confusion, Yashi walks down the hall. There are 3 doors that can be seen whenever the lantern lights up. One on the north wall, one on the east, and one on the west. Dia remains still, grasping her head in frustration. When she finally meets up with Yashi,
Are we really in the Demon King's castle right now? It seems more like a hotel.
On one hand, this is the easiest infiltration one could ask for so far. On the other hand, most of them are over 35. I wouldn't expect it to be very lively in these common areas.
That is true. The sign with the crown set straight ahead. Grandrum just stared at us. I know you're not in Yoshido, and I'm not in my trance, but I was expecting at least a gasp after seeing me.
We don't even know how far his throne room is, if he even has one.
Oh, please, don't say that. There's movement.
Yashi nods, holding the knob and twisting it carefully. It is an exact copy of the original intersection, although this time a maid of sorts is mopping the floor. Yashi opens the door all the way. Even after the squeak, the maid pays them no mind. That is until Dia stumps towards the woman. The maid stumbles away and falls to their bottom. Yashi quickly enters and closes the door.
Please, no. I'm sorry. Don't.
We're not here to hurt you.
Please. I'm begging you. Don't tell Anaya. Please don't tell her. I've been...
It's all right. Don't worry. We really are not here to hurt you. You can stand.
Taking a deep gulp, the maid stands and hesitantly makes eye contact with Dia. Her eyes then shudder open before she falls backward. Yashi catches her just before she hits the ground.
Heavens, this cannot be real. Dia is standing in front of me.
Interesting. You had a reaction, but Grandrum didn't.
That's because they, the recipients, play parlor tricks on each other, but I can't tell by your voice and actions that you really are Dia.
The woman tries to get a good look at Yashi, but he avoids her eyes by staying behind whichever way she looks.
Oh, he's just a helper of mine to get here.
To get here? What do you mean?
Dia's friendly posture goes away. With a serious expression, her hammer appears in her right hand.
We're here to fight Kurosi. Do you know the exact path to him? One with the least amount of traction.
The woman stands still with an open mouth. Yashi can feel her quivering.
That means the hero is holding me.
Did she faint?
You made her faint, Yashi. I guess she had a crush on you too.
Blushing, Yashi takes a step back, but quickly moves forward again to hold the woman.
Despite the fact you nearly scared her to death, filled her heart with joy, and then did a terrible job at hiding who I was.
Boo-hoo.
The woman's eyes blink a few times before she is fully aware.
I'm so sorry. Very much. What was your question?
A path to Kurosi's throne room with the least number of recipients.
I'm sorry to say, but there's no clear path to his throne room that I could guarantee would not be cluttered with his followers. If I had to make an educated guess, take this right behind me and then the third left. There would be a staircase in the corner and just take that all the way to the top. It will be a single curved flat build-up. If you continue going upward, you'll enter into his throne room.
Thank you so much.
The maid tells her name before Dia gives the maid a hug. Buebeso closes her eyes to embrace the magnificent exposure.
Wish us luck.
After Dia separates, Buebeso opens her eyes to see the brunette tiles covering her view. She swiftly turns around and no one is there either. She places her index finger on the bottom lip.
Goodness, I wonder who else I'm going to hallucinate.
Already approaching the third hall on the left, many voices are heard. The two slide against the wall until Yashi can take another peek.
If I had Protojet, I could have just PC'd it with my Kori instead.
Protojet is for lazy, little heavy morons who don't know how to properly use the magic.
That's a lot of talk for someone who doesn't fight at all. Who was the last person you...
Hey, no one cares about battle statistics.
Try telling that to Jokimo.
The three of them laugh. Yashi finally makes it to the corner and makes out two of them, but the third is unknown. He whispers to Dia.
Society, grace, and a third.
We waited out?
Where's Anaya with our food?
Probably in Section A, training with her brother.
God, just maybe one day I hope she actually does some good for once.
I'd love to see Anaya, Andreas, and Gorgonlu on the same team.
You gotta be kidding me. You want them to take over the world? Right, y'all?
Damn, I mean, Gorgonlu alone could easily handle 3 of us without her discipancy active. She and Andreas have prior compatibility. Ania would just be one annoying piece of shit to deal with.
Case closed. I'm going to see what's going on down there.
Minnie should still be asleep. Would you check on her for me while you're going down, Society?
Go tell her dad to check on her.
Oh, but you wish Anaya would do some good for once. You are her father, Society.
Tell that to all the other men you've been with, Hindrance.
Screw you.
Yashi looks to his right at Dia. Her head is down with a big grin on her face. Yashi nudges her with his shoulder. This causes Dia to cover her mouth as her laugh nearly escapes into the halls. He continues to peek.
I want to go outside.
I could for a few minutes.
Let's do it then.
Yashi leans back before they turn his way. He whispers to Dia.
Pretend to be a statue.
Grace and Uarl get closer to the corner.
I was thinking of finishing up that housing over Biskiek.
Lark will just burn it down.
I'll do it more discreetly this time.
You said the same thing last time. It got burnt down.
The two disciplines cross the corner. They take a right towards Buebeso and don't initially see Yashi and Dia. However, when Grace looks over her shoulder to speak again, she sees them against the wall behind Uarl.
What in the actual?
What?
Yashi is against the floor with a protective hand over him. Dia is above him with her hammer coming down on him as if about to smash him. Yashi looks scared while Dia looks fierce.
That's cute. Those outfits are atrocious, though.
The comment causes Dia's face to twitch.
Honestly, I'm getting tired of these jokes.
I believe General Shozi was the best one to this day.
Agreed.
Once they are out of sight, Yashi winks. Dia falls on top of him before they roll over and stand to their feet.
Atrocious. Whatever.
Come on.
The two sprint down the hall to the staircase. When they make it, it is actually a clockwise stairwell with a cylinder in the middle. It is dark, very dark. However, there are minor reflections of orange lights from other passages that guide along the well, up and down.
We are not running up these stairs.
I hoped we weren't.
After 70 steps, a brighter orange light begins to appear. Reaching the source, a hole is cut out in the cylinder. A person stands there with their chin leaning on their hand. Behind them are many books. Whoever it is in fact a discipline, as they have the signature purple attire on. Walking into their peripheral, they stare at the two with a cold, empty expression. The orange spotlight gleams onto Dia's face as she passes, but once again, no reaction is given. Dia does get an after-image in her eyes after nearly looking directly at the bright light. After 30 more steps, Dia speaks.
Did you recognize them, Yashi?
No clue. By the way, this place is non-Euclidean.
Yeah. I saw the sketchings on this pillar, too.
His throne room is going to be way more massive than the detailing we trained for.
Great.
After 60 more steps, the narrow stairwell begins to open. Soon enough, two large gates are seen directly in front of them. The right gate is closed, but the left one is open. Yashi turns to Dia, feeling the presence of Lark corrosive inside. After a while, she feels it too. Yashi hands out his right hand to Dia's chest level. His face was serious and body tensed. Dia takes his hand, and the two squeeze their hands together. Yashi turns around and with a deep exhale begins walking forward. Coming out into the opening, Dia stands to his left. The room is shaped like a cylinder, about 500 feet in diameter. The walls are covered with large lamps and other passageways that lead throughout the castle. In front of them is a fall that leads into darkness. This fall covers 20 feet across until reaching another cylindrical platform in the middle of the room. Opposite of them, there is a minor indent with pillars to support the open room above. Resting in the front of this open room sits the Demon King. His face is obscured by a book. Above him sits a chandelier extruding blue light. They cannot see what is behind him as it clearly extends further. An ice shard collides with an invisible barrier surrounding him before melting. Lark lowers his book to see Dia at the entrance, her sustain blaring at her maximum efficiency. Feeling her salacious aura, Lark smiles.
Dia,
He mumbled, his smile fading away.
so they just let anyone in my castle.
Lark tapped his book, and a wine glass sitting in a cup holder within his throne floats up and pours into his mouth. With two tastes of his tongue, a radiant aura bursts towards Dia. Lark has the wine glass in his right hand, his arm covered in flames. Dia has already assumed a defensive stance. Yoshido counterattacks by jumping in front of Lark's left, heading straight for him, while a second Yoshido is diagonally behind Lark's right. Despite this action plan of his enemies, Lark continues forth towards Yoshido with the intent to collide. The collision between them whips the fire around Yoshido. The second Yoshido, a particle magic clone, gets roasted from this same swirl.
There he is, the fallen warrior Kion, left behind.
Dia appears above Yoshido with her hammer cocked back. Lark backflips away, dodging both Yoshido and Dia as they attack consecutively. Dia posts her hammer into the ground, which arcs her towards Yoshido. Yoshido catches her, and their momentum carries them to the opposite end of the center platform. Lark lands to his feet, looking over his shoulder at them.
We keep his optics under ours.
Lark's body phases into a blue light towards the two. To counter his magic, they activate Stage 1 Zoka Vision. Dia is forced to dodge while Yoshido parries Lark's hook with his sword. The hero follows up by protojating an elbow at the side of his head. Lark ducks and catches Yoshido's elbow with his left palm. Before he's able to realize the setup, the Demon King takes a heavy blow into the chin from Dia's hammer. Before the two could follow up, Lark dashes into the air. A ghost spurges from Yoshido and Dia's bodies to remain close to him. Lark twirls his fingers in the air, creating multiple discs of ice that are slingshot towards them. Yoshido's ghost vanishes after being split, but the hammer of Dia's ghost ricochets the disc toward the wall on her right. Lark eyes Dia's ghost, remaining still in the air. The act causes the ghost to bring itself to a halt. At the same time, Yoshido and Dia charge Lark within protojets.
You have no choice, Dia.
Saying that, a huge force pelts Yoshido and Dia in the chest, sending them towards the platform below. Dia's ghost is hit with a counter-gravity as they pass her that doubles the speed in which she catapults towards Lark. Lark lands a powerful straight on her nose. Shards of her sustain explode outward from the hit. At that moment, Yoshido and Dia crash land feet first into the ground, although the Dia vanishes into particles from it being a particle magic clone. The gray color around Dia's ghost returns to normal as she pulls back her hammer. Lark easily dodges her before dodging an attack from Yoshido as he appears in the air with them. Dia brings her hammer back around while Yoshido does an overhead strike. The combined attacks cause Lark to screech.
Ruby!
His red sword appearing just in time to block both attacks. The pressure of Yoshido and Dia's attacks are still powerful enough to send the Demon King flying backward almost into the wall. Lark waves his sword in front of them before slashing downward. A massive crescent of energy rushes towards them. Yoshido positions himself to slash the incoming attack, but Dia bats it towards Lark with ease. This feat shocks the Demon King as his vision is filled with the white light. The room roars with thunder as the crescent explodes against the wall. A deep black smoke rushes over the two as they watch closely.
He has his dermal now, Yoshido.
Just save your chance when we need it the most.
The black smoke begins to rush towards them slightly faster before Lark appears just a few feet in front of them, levitating slowly. Lark's blue, shiny, crystallized dermal is equipped. His eyes glare red with the left fainter than the right.
At least the six had manners. Enough of this slander.
A deep pain strikes Yoshido and Dia as their telepathy is cut. Of course you can interfere, Dia said.
There is nothing new under the sun. Not you, nor your tactics. How did you two get in here?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Lark eyes Dia and she can sense it, causing her to shiver.
The only slaves I see here are the ones you have keeping this place from looking like a run-down hotel.
Margaret, Calvin, maybe Nathal, or was it Buebeso? Regardless, it just shows how weak you are, dear. A weak, manipulated little girl who thinks she'll be able to change the world. With no, excuse me, no followers, right?
I'm definitely doing a whole lot better than you.
Ask the council once you're a little bit older. Dia
swings the handle of her hammer in a downward elbow angle. Lark blocks with his sword before attempting to knee her. Dia loses her hammer to grab his leg. Seeing the cue, a bright, flaming anchor appears around Yoshido as he immediately charges Lark. Lark holds his blade horizontally to block them, but the personal cast eats away at his dermal regardless. Dia uses Lark's leg to flip under him to catch her hammer. Unfortunately, Lark creates a barrier between him and Yoshido and turns towards Dia with a thrusting strike. Dia tries to cast her own barrier, but Lark penetrates his sword through her chest. Missiles explode from Dia's back to attack Lark. Yoshido cuts through the barrier as well. Surrounded, Lark roars,
Flex!
A powerful wave of Kimmery spreads outward from Lark like a sound wave. The missiles get thrown off path and Dia's hammer clips onto Yoshido, leaving him unaffected by the cast, while Dia herself protojets as fast as she can to avoid being hit. Yoshido and Lark collide swords.
What's the matter, Demon King? I thought you'd be used to fighting multiple opponents.
Lark immediately turns around, going prone while doing so, to dodge Yoshido's momentum and a missile. Yoshido and Lark then face each other quickly with thrusts. Lark's superior movements allow him to land a penetrating blow through Yoshido's right shoulder. The demon then protojets forward towards the wall. With them moving too fast for her to help, Dia can only watch as Yoshido is crashed against the wall, causing a loud boom to vibrate through the room. Lark appears from above out of the smoke and directs himself for Dia.
Xion!
The massive hammer zips into a grip before Lark slashes down on her. The head of the hammer takes the blow directly but causes Dia to deepen into the ground. Lark has to change his priority to the hero as he returns out of the smoke, attack ready. Lark dashes to his left, causing Yoshido to miss. Lark tries to slash Yoshido in the rear as he misses but retreats after seeing Yoshido trying to get a behind kicking. Dia jumps towards Yoshido and he swings her towards Lark. Lark's aura appears in an ikase as he aims his sword over his shoulder. Dia tries to cancel her velocity, but her impending collision is unstoppable. Both Yoshido and Dia activate their ikases as well. With all their auras blazing up the room, the temperature rises drastically.
Do it, Dia. I dare you.
I'll take my chances.
Although a few dozen feet behind, within the hundreds of milliseconds these events occur, Yoshido knows he cannot make it in time. Dia's hammer collides with Lark's sword, creating a huge dispersion of particles around them. Lark doesn't move an inch, but Dia could feel her shoulders nearly snap from the impact. Lark begins to laugh in her face.
Destruction.
However, before his personal cast could be set in stone, a lightning strike pierces through Dia's back, through the handle of her hammer, and into Lark's neck. A nuclear explosion sets off, throwing Dia and Lark away from each other. The room quakes as the lightning hits the top of the room, causing the lamps on the side to flicker. Lark impacts one of the pillars that supported his throne above. The second impact redirects the wind and smoke back towards the two allies. Dia eventually arcs down and is caught by Yoshido. She summons Xion again as it was melted from their combined effort. Both of their ikazes are now off as Yoshido sets her down. They stand offensively on the platform.
That damage to his dermal is amazing. Down to 40% already.
He still has his seal, and this is his stage 1 dermal. If he has 3 more including his aced one.
I doubt he'll waste more oblitals on those weaker dermals.
Do not underestimate the Demon King, Dia.
We just need to...
No, we conserve our oblitals and let him get low.
Right. My bad. I'm back in it now.